If you're planning to move to the Netherlands, you have probably heard number of rumors. You think you're walking into a non-stop rainstorm. You're picturing London on a bad day every day. I'm going to tell you a secret that most travel guides won't. The rain isn't your enemy here. The wind is. Hi, I'm Parichay, and today we are breaking down exactly what the weather is like in Netherlands. We're moving past the stereotypes to talk about the reality of living below sea level, or as you can see on the surface of it, we'll cover how to dress all year round, why you need to download a specific app before you even board your flight, and the untranslatable Dutch concept that might just save your mental health in November. So, if you're an expat, a student, or just dreaming of Dutch life, this is your weather survival guide. So, let's dive right in. But first, let me put on some sunglasses. First, let's get the technicals right. The Netherlands has a moderate maritime climate. What does that actually mean for you? It means not too hot and not too cold. Well, hot and cold are extremely subjective terms. For a person coming from tropical climate, hot could easily mean over 40 degrees and a cold might be around 20. Similarly, for someone close to the Arctic, a not too cold day might just be a way to refer to temperatures above 0 degrees. When you think this in terms of Netherlands, the scale of reference is temperate zone, the zone where the country actually belongs. Think of neighboring countries like the UK, Denmark, or Germany for that matter. When compared to its neighbors, simply put, Netherlands is neither too hot nor too cold. What that means is you will rarely freeze and you will rarely roast, but on some days you may just fly. If we talk this in terms of stats, winters average temperatures are around 2 degrees to 6 degrees and it rarely snows heavily and the canals don't freeze nearly as often as the postcards suggest. Today is an exception, as you can see behind me, as we had a pretty darn nice snowfall last night. Talking of summers, averages are 17 degrees to 22 degrees, and yes, we get heat waves where it hits 30 degree plus, but they usually last about a week and then the thunder breaks it all. During heat wave days, a temperature of 30 degrees might feel like over 40 degrees because houses here have insulation to keep the heat inside. While this works out in your favor during winter and is kind to your energy bill, it works against you in summers. So fans, air conditioning are getting increasingly common, even if they might be barely used for 10 or 15 days each year. But here's a catch. Because the country is flat, like pancake or stroopwafel flat, there are no mountains to block the weather coming from the North Sea. This makes the weather incredibly changeable. It can be sunny, hailing, and sunny again all in a matter of 40 minutes. So if you are coming from a tropical country or somewhere with a wet season and a dry season, delete that concept from your head. In the Netherlands, every day is potentially a wet season. This brings us to the next biggest cultural shock you will face, the Dutch attitude towards rain. In many countries, if it rains, you cancel your plans or you take the car. Here you bike. There's a famous Dutch saying, "Je bent niet van suiker," which literally translates to "you are not made of sugar," meaning you won't melt in the rain. You will see businessmen in full suits, parents with 3 kids in a wooden box biking, and grandmas all cycling through a downpour. Pro tip for expats, do not be the person who calls in late to work because of rain. Oh, that brings me back some memories. That was me during my first week in Netherlands. Thank God they have work from home. My colleagues laughed too hard when they heard me say it. Seriously, your Dutch colleagues will look at you confused. They will just ask, "Why didn't you wear your raincoat or where's your umbrella?" or something like that. Welcome to the Netherlands. Finally. Finally, that's what they'll say. But jokes aside, if you think about it, this mindset is actually freeing. Once you accept that you will get wet, you become weather invincible or winvincible and stop letting the weather control your schedule. I can speak from my own personal experience. Rain has become a part of life till such an extent that it almost feels invisible to me right now. So much so that in a matter of the last 10 minutes while shooting this video, I had rain fall over me thrice. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Download Bowen Radar. We don't check the weather forecast for the day here. That's too vague. We check the weather by the minute. Bowen Radar is a word that literally translates to shower radar, shows you satellite map of the rain. Dutch people are obsessed with this. You will see people standing in a doorway of a supermarket staring at their phones, waiting for a dry gap in the blue blobs so they can sprint to their bikes. The strategy here is that you look at the app, it says rainstorm stops at 2:15 pm. It is currently 2:05 pm. You wait 10 minutes, you cycle back, you stay dry. Well, mostly. Mastering this app is like the first step to feeling like a true local. There's a paid as well as a free version of the app, so I recommend checking that out. So, what does a year actually look like? Starting with spring, which is March to May, we have a saying April doth what I will, which means April does whatever it wants. One day it is 18 degrees and everyone is in their t shirts, and the next day it is hailing. But when the sun comes out in spring, the country transforms. The terrace culture kicks in. If the sun is out, you drop everything and sit at a cafe, go out, make plans, and catch up with friends. It's funny how every year I see a correlation between the sun and the people's moods and their willingness to make plans with you. The moment you come here, you'll feel it too. Next comes the summer season. Now let's talk about summer. This is where the country undergoes a massive personality shift. Days are incredibly long. The sun doesn't set until 10 or 10:30 p.m. in the night or so, and let me tell you, it's glorious. This is the time of year we all live for. You see people dancing on streets, singing, going out for parties, sitting by the canal and having wine and dinner dates and whatnot. This is the time we live for. The time to be alive. But be warned, a Dutch summer is not guaranteed beach holiday. You will have weeks of 25 degrees sunshine, followed immediately by a week of 16-degree grey drizzle. So if you see a sunny day in the forecast, cancel your meetings, go outside and live a little. We never know when it will be the last one. That's what we all do. Shh. One thing to note though is that, as I said before, year after year, air conditioning is getting increasingly common in residential homes. Fans and coolers are a no brainer. If we get a 35-degree heat wave, you choose to be without it, you will suffer. Buy a fan in May, do not wait until July, the best ones might be sold out. Here is another interesting phenomenon you need to prepare for: the Dutch leave. Around July and August, especially during the school holidays, half of the country packs up their caravans and head straight to Schiphol Airport to fly to France, Spain, Italy, or wherever. This creates a strange dynamic in the cities. Residential areas become ghost towns. It's actually the quietest time of the year to drive to work because there are no traffic jams. And if we talk about famous city centers, they explode with tourists. While the locals leave, the rest of the world arrives. Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Giethoorn become absolutely packed. If you live in the center in any of these cities, there are chances you might find yourself dodging rolling suitcases every time you leave your front door. If you plan to travel during this time, listen closely. Schiphol Airport in July and August is an experience. The queues for security can be long. We're talking lines stretching outside the terminal long on bad days. Secret hack, don't let it out. Shh. Go to Schiphol's official website and book a free time slot for security. You will get to skip the general queue. Do this or you will miss the flight while staring at a stranger's backpack for 3 hours. And what happens if you do choose to stay in summers in Netherlands? Well, if you don't leave, you get to enjoy the best part of the Netherlands, festive season. Every weekend, there are outdoor music festivals, food truck festivals, and neighborhood block parties. And because the canals are warmer, the boats come out. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, better than a Dutch summer evening on a boat with a cold beverage and bitterballen, watching the sun just refuse to set. Now comes autumn. This is a windy one. This is where the umbrellas start dying. Do not buy a cheap umbrella. The Dutch wind laughs at cheap umbrellas. You need a storm umbrella. You know, the aerodynamic ones that look a bit weird, or just a really good raincoat. Now let's talk about autumn. Well, visually, it is stunning. The canals turn golden. The forests are beautiful, but physically, this is when the Netherlands starts to fight you. You will learn a new enemy here: the wind. In autumn, the storms roll in off the North Sea, and you will experience the uniquely Dutch phenomenon of cycling downhill but pedaling as hard as you can because the wind is pushing you backward. And here comes the real talk. You will see Dutch people cycling upright, hands in their pockets, whistling in a gale force wind. Do not try to copy them. They've been training for this since birth. You will need both hands on the handlebars just to stay in straight line. That gets me to the next part, the leaves on the track crisis. If you commute by train, prepare for the most infamous excuse in Dutch history, which is leaves on the tracks. It sounds like a joke, but it is serious business. The wet leaves turn into a slippery marsh on the tracks, the trains lose grip, and suddenly the entire schedule collapses. Pro tip: during October and November, always check the NS app before you leave the houses. Assume your train might be delayed. But hang on, there is a silver lining. It's not all suffering in autumn here in Netherlands. Autumn is the season of Bokebier. This is a special dark seasonal beer that appears in every pub. The moment the wind gets cold, the Dutch move inside. Order a Bock beer in case you're into drinking, along with it a cheese platter, and the coziness officially begins. It's the best way to forget you almost got blown into a canal on your way here. And then winter arrives. I'm going to be honest with you. The Dutch winter is a mental game. It's not the cold temperature usually hover just above freezing. It is the darkness. The darkness. In December, the sun rises around 8:45 a.m. and sets by 4:30 p.m. So if you commute to work in a 9 to 5 office job, you might go weeks without seeing daylight. Real expat experience, you will wake up, it's pitch black. You bike to work, it's pitch black. And you get back home, it's pitch black. This is why I said vitamin D is mandatory. Do not skip it during winters. The frozen lock ritual. If the temperature does not drop below zero, you will encounter a specific morning nightmare. The frozen bike lock. Imagine this. You're late to work, you run to your bike and the key won't turn. It's frozen solid. Life hack: do not pour hot water in it, or else it will just freeze and become worse. Carry a small bottle of hand sanitizer. The alcohol actually melts the ice, or a lighter to warm your key. You will see people doing this all over the city. Now comes the next part, the code orange panic. It rarely snows heavily here, but when it does, the country stops. We get 3 centimeters of snow, and the weatherman declares code orange. Trains stop running, traffic jams are kilometers long. The Dutch are excellent at water management, but snow management, meh. Enjoy the snow day while it lasts, because you probably aren't going to the office, just like me. That gets me to the next part, ice skating. But here is the magic. If it freezes for more than 2 days, a fever takes over the country. Skating fever. Everyone, and I mean literally everyone, digs in their ice skates out of the attic. If the canals freeze, which are rare now but possible, it is the biggest party of the decade. People skate for leisure, some skate to work. Even if the canals don't freeze, outdoor rinks pop up everywhere. You grab a hot chocolate and an ollie ball, which is a giant donut ball sold at street stalls, and suddenly the dark cold winter feels pretty magical. Not to mention though, a tenth of the country flees again because it's time to ski, or another fraction runs away in search of some sun to a warmer country. It's not the cold during winters that gets you, it's the grey. It can be grey for weeks at a time. The sun rises at 8:45 a.m. and sets at 4:30 p.m. This is when the Dutch lean into coziness. Candles, warm lights, fireplaces at home, and brown cafes. You survive by making indoors the best place on earth. I want to talk about mental health because the grey gloom is real for expats. My suggestion: vitamin D is not optional. Start taking it in October. Seriously. If you have darker skin, you are at even higher risk of deficiency here. Next tip for you is lean to uitwaaien. This is my favorite Dutch word. It literally means outblowing. It refers to going for a walk in the wind, usually on the beach or a dike or by the canal like this one, though, to let the wind blow the cobwebs out of your head. Instead of hiding from the bad weather, you go into it to refresh yourself. It's incredibly therapeutic. The third part, sun worship. You will notice that when sun shines, Dutch people turn their faces to it like sunflowers. Take my advice and join them. If there's a patch of blue sky, go outside. Work can wait for 15 minutes. That's the Dutch way of life for you. Okay, you're packing your bags. What do you actually need? Layers. not bulk. Don't bring 10 massive parkas. Bring layers you can actually peel off when you cycle and get sweaty, and put back on when you stop. Waterproof shoes? Canvas sneakers in November are a big mistake. You need boots that can handle puddle. A regenpach or a rain suit, it's pants and a jacket you wear over your clothes. It's not fashionable. It is, however, life-saving. Or if you're like me and dig the long coat vibe, get one long raincoat instead. Next, a storm umbrella. I might not have any brand suggestions, but look up Amazon and bold.com for really good ones. The third one would be a bike. But buy this when you arrive here. Well, obviously, the weather in the Netherlands is a character in your life. As you can see, it's moody, it's loud, but sometimes it's absolutely beautiful. Don't let the rain scare you off. The summers here are magical, the spring is colorful, and the winters are nice and cozy. And honestly, there's nothing more satisfying than checking the radar app, timing your ride perfectly, and arriving home dry while the storm like it started behind me. Here's the challenge for you. If you're planning your move, go to your phones, download the app right now. Don't be a fool like me who thinks that recording this right now would be a good idea in a 10-minute window, which it clearly isn't. The storm started behind me, right? Just take a look at the map on the Bound Radar app. Get used to seeing those blue blobs. It is your first step to becoming Dutch. If you find this helpful, hit that like button so other expats can fight this guide. Subscribe for more, and fijne dag en doei. I need to run.